Hey everyone, this is Charles with Rocky Mountain ATV-MC. Today I'm going to show you how to replace the drive belt on your Polaris Ranger. This will be a similar process for the Polaris Ranger 570 and 900s, model years 2013 to 2019, and then the 1000s 2015 to 2018. Now the service interval for our specific machine, we're going to do that belt inspection at 50 hours or 500 miles, whichever comes first. So let's jump into this and get it done. Now as far as parts go, we have our new belt. Now this one is from EPI. We have a lot of different options on our website. Now I recommend having a spare belt even if you're not going to replace the belt today, and I also recommend practicing this procedure before you're actually out riding your machine. That way you don't get stranded and you know you have a spare belt and the correct tools to do the job. The first thing we need to do is tilt the cargo bed back. Next, we're going to loosen the hose clamps and remove the intake boots on the back and front of this airbox. And then we have 3 bolts in it. We're going to remove those bolts and move it up out of the way of the belt cover. There's still one hose connected to the back, but we're just going to leave it like that. With the airbox out of the way, the next thing we need to do is remove this grease Zerk. Now you'll notice on our machine, we already removed the wheel, and that's just so we can better show the process. You do not have to do this. Now we're ready to remove the clutch cover, so let's take out all the bolts around the perimeter. I'm using this flexible tool. This one's from Tusk, and it just makes the job a lot easier because you can get into all those tight, hard to reach spots. Now to remove the belt, there's a couple of different ways to do it. So you can loosen this bolt up on the driven clutch, and you would do that by having somebody shift the machine into gear with the engine off and hold the brake. That way it keeps that shaft from rotating. But if you're out somewhere, out on the trail, that's going to be less practical. So we're just going to show you how to do it without loosening up this bolt. So in order to do that, we need to get these sheaves on this driven clutch to spread apart. So we're just going to pull on these. Pull on the belt. That's going to drop it down in there. You can squeeze the belt together. You want to get that in as far as you can, and then on the bottom, you're just going to get the belt out as far as you can. Walk it out as far as you can by hand, and then to help, you can rotate it counterclockwise. And that last little bit at the top might be stuck, so you just press up on it. Now to inspect the belt, it's really pretty simple. You're just checking for visual damage. So cracks in between the cogs on either side, and then you want to make sure the cogs themselves are not damaged. This side surface, you want to make sure that it's not glazed. Sometimes if you look at it from the top, you can get what they call hourglassing. So you'll have thinner and thicker spots on there. And the other thing, sometimes these belts start coming apart. So if you have strings hanging out, anything like that, you definitely want to replace this belt. And if you just think it might be worn out, you can compare it to a brand new belt, compare the widths, and if there's very much difference at all, you definitely want to get that belt replaced. Now before we install the new belt, we want to clean up around those clutches. So I'm going to blow everything off with some compressed air, and then I'm going to use a rag with a little bit of contact cleaner on it to wipe the surface of the sheaves. Once we have the clutches cleaned up, you want to inspect these clutches, especially the face of these sheaves. So what you want to do is run your finger across that sheave and check for any ridges or grooving. If it feels damaged in any way, then you definitely want to get that taken care of. Now that we have everything cleaned up, we're ready to install our belt. So you'll notice on our new belt, we do have the arrows. So we're going to have those facing towards the front of the machine if this is on top. And I'm just going to work the belt over the drive clutch, and then we'll bring it back to the driven clutch. And I'm going to work this as far as I can onto the driven and then press down so the belt pulls down on the sheaves and spreads them. So once you have the belt on, you want to make sure you spin the clutch counterclockwise a few times and make sure it's all the way up in the sheaves. If not, it's going to be like starting out in a high gear and you can actually damage the belt. Now again, that's how I recommend removing and installing the belt for most people. If you do have an issue with doing it this way, again, you can remove this bolt and this sheave is going to come out just a little bit and make the process easier. But for most people, it's going to be more of a hassle to break this bolt free and to get it torqued correctly. So for those reasons, I recommend the style we just did. After that, we're ready to install our belt cover. The hardest part is just making sure you get that plastic piece past this control arm right here. Then we can install all of the bolts. Next, we'll install the grease zerk. We'll just snug that up and make sure that this opening is easy to get to. And then we'll reinstall the airbox. Make sure that the intake boots are clean when you install it. After that, we'll close the bed of the machine. And that's it for the belt replacement on the Polaris Ranger 570, 900, and 1000. If you need this belt or any other parts for your machine, check out our website. We have a lot of options on there, and subscribe to our channel for more helpful content. Thanks for watching.